News Channel 5 network and millions of conversations. This is one of millions of conversations.
Welcome to the Millions of Conversations show. I'm your host, Samar, and I'm thrilled to be welcoming today two of my friends, award-winning Dr. André Churchwell from Vanderbilt and also Rebecca Price from the Nashville Public Library. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So one of the things that we've been up to lately is co-hosting this series at the Nashville Public Library called Then and Now. I came a little bit late into the series, I would say. It was more of this year, December of last year, that I started with you all, but you started this much earlier, and you both were the brains behind it, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Well, yes, this is something, this is the second year, the end of the second year. You're right.
Okay.
We started this last year, and it came out of some thoughts on my part, having worked in inclusive excellence and working on diversity and inclusion projects for years at many academic institutions, including Emory and my current home, Vanderbilt. I realized that maybe I need to leave a little legacy. And the legacy might need to be in my position now to look at the various communities that make up Nashville. The city's growing so fast. And my concern was all those great stories.
Here, right?
I was born and raised here. Born and raised here. I won't say when. You'll get my advanced age out. But I was born and raised here. But it seemed to me with the city growing so fast, we could lose these stories. And so we thought, I partnered with my great friend here, Rebecca Price, knowing that she had been involved in storytelling at the library with about other communities like women and the Nashville Banner and others. We began to look at what communities we should address, looking at then how did they get to Nashville, what were the circumstances of them coming to Nashville, and then what did we learn along the way from their stories as how things look now.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say the origin is a little bit more inspirational than just that. So Dr. Churchwell called me, and he doesn't know me, but he obviously knows the library and the work that we do at the Civil Rights Room and the Votes for Women's Room, and he called us to pitch us this idea for a show. And it was what he said: I want to look at then and now and how these different communities and different groups and people have shaped Nashville. And of course, I knew him though as the son of Robert Churchwell, who was the first black reporter at the Nashville Banner.
Okay.
And the Nashville Banner's archives are in the Special Collections Center, which I work in.
And how far back do those go?
Oh, those go back to the late 1800s.
Wow.
Depending, but that's very shoddy.
Okay.
Going back that far. Some of the stuff, most of our stuff is from the 1930s, 1940s, and forward.
Okay.
But when they closed in the 1990s, all of their clippings and their photographs and their archives, what we call the Banner Morgue, came to Nashville. In that collection are Robert Churchwell's papers, and he was, like I said, the first black reporter at the Nashville Banner. So we have his papers, we have a lot of his stories. So when he called, Dr. Churchwell called and said, I want to do this, and this is what would make my dad proud. This is what would make my dad proud, this work. Not everything else he's done in his career, but this is the work to tell these stories of Nashville's histories. And so
It's important for her to say this because I would be crying right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that I bragged on you for that because, and I think it would.
Yeah, and so Samar, we looked at the map of Nashville and Davidson County, Middle Tennessee, and look at the demographics. So we said, let's look at the larger minority communities first. And that was the first year's efforts that you were talking about. We looked at the African American community, which was brought here as enslaved Africans. They weren't, immigrants. They weren't traditional migrants. And we looked at and we learned things about that in terms of where most of the black Nashvillians have settled and lived. And that's mostly tied to and around Union settlements in Nashville. So North Nashville over by Pearl, and particularly Fisk. Fisk was where a Union encampment was, and when the war ended, the Union general in this area gave that land and the encampments to Fisk University, which served as their first classrooms. And so we then moved to South Nashville this year around South Nashville and the Cameron High School story. The North Nashville story included the Pearl High School story. That's important. Otherwise, I won't be able to go to church on Sunday. And so, but the South Nashville story was centered around the Fort Negley incident during the Civil War, and the fact that there was the largest collection of black soldiers in the Union Army fought during that particular Battle of Nashville. And when they finished fighting, that's where they settled.
I always learn something new whenever I'm talking to you, and you as well, Rebecca. So, I mean, I love talking to you both. And how did you learn all of this? How is this like, were these stories that were told to you while you were growing up? Did you actively seek it out? Did you spend hours in Rebecca's civil rights room at the library?
Well, I think, being someone who's an educator, I teach at Vanderbilt in medicine and in the medical school. You're constantly learning and wanting to learn new things. And so I didn't know all of this. And it's been a great learning experience for us because we've brought in community leaders and historians to help us tell the stories. And so what we have learned, most of what I just shared with you, at least the details, came from historians who work with us, such as Angela Sutton from Vandy, who is writing about the Fort Negley story. And then we have Linda Wynn, who knows most of the history of Black Nashville. She's with the Tennessee Historical Commission. And there are so many other historians that we've worked with too along the way. For the Latin American story, and which is a real important thing we learned from, not all the expertise about our history resides in Nashville. The two historians that have made their mark in academia about the history of the Hispanic migration here are in Syracuse and also in Brown University. And so we brought them into the story. They've written their books about the migration of Hispanic and Latino communities from South America and Puerto Rico to Nashville. And so they were our historians for this.
Okay. Wow. So you growing up here, I was going to focus on that for just a second, and you're wanting to do this series. Have you ever seen Nashville grow at this pace that you're now seeing it and witnessing? No,
not at all. Growing up here in the early 60s, Nashville seemed a very sleepy, mid-sized southern town.
Okay.
We were riveted and regulated by Jim Crow rules and laws in the city. As a kid growing up, there were certain parts of this city I could not frequent. I could not come downtown and go to the theaters here. I had to go to the only black theater in Nashville. It was on Jefferson Street, the Ritz Theater. And I never imagined that we would get to the state we are. Certainly the Civil Rights Movement, the Voting Rights Act changed things immensely, but the growth we're seeing, this kind of neo-Nashville that looks extraordinarily multicultural, extraordinarily diverse, not like when I was a kid. I didn't even know we had people from Asia that migrated here. There were so few that you would see on the streets here, and so, or from the Middle East, very few. And so it's been a great awakening, but a great thing to see the growth of the city and see what the multicultural interests and people bringing their culture, their food, their clothing, their music, and what it's done to make the city even better.
Yes, and I should know this, Rebecca, where did you grow up?
Memphis.
Okay, so you grew up in Memphis and then you came to Nashville.
Yes.
Okay, so Memphis has changed a lot as well.
Yes.
So
not as rapidly as Nashville.
Okay.
But it has changed a lot too.
So what about that experience of seeing how much Nashville has changed has helped you shape the Then and Now series?
I think the rapid growth of Nashville has impacted the series, and one of the things I love about the series is all the other different communities that we're showing. These communities that are here in Nashville, and maybe most people just don't know this. For example, we have one of the largest Kurdish populations.
Right.
So I think the fact that we have been such a welcoming city to groups, which is one of the things that comes out and is highlighted in every episode of the show, is this great kind of love letter to Nashville about how much these communities love Nashville. And so now we get to show them. And so in a way, it's also served the communities who have been on stage, because then they can thank Nashville and get to say something, and we all get to learn, oh, that's here, and that's here, and that's here.
Great themes, Samar and Rebecca's touched on them, are the communities and how they've been welcomed by the native Nashville community. It's been it's an extraordinarily positive experience, and we have a number of people who come to the shows that aren't from those communities because they want to learn more about Nashville and the people who are here. And we have a number of returnees. But I think that there are themes such as, boy, just how friendly the city is. The natural friendliness has been one that has embraced these communities when they've come in, particularly those that have migrated from other parts of the world. And the other theme is how those communities have embraced Nashville and feel that they're integrated members of the they're native Nashvillians now. And their, once again, their culture, their music, their restaurants, all that everybody goes to, everybody listens to. There's a great Hispanic jazz band I didn't know about here in town. Remember that? They played, I said, man, those guys can play. And at our event on the Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander community, one of the community leaders was a young South Korean country music star. Who is just a fledgling star, just getting off the ground, has just sung at the Ryman. No one knew this. So there are a lot of things, as Rebecca said, that we're learning on the ground as we do these shows.
Well, it sounds to me like what we're hearing and experiencing is community, and that's really exciting. So we're going to be coming back after the break and talking a little bit more about the Then and Now series. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Millions of Conversations show. I'm here with my friends, Dr. André Churchwell and Rebecca Price. Thank you both again for being with us today. I loved hearing about the origin story for both of you on the Then and Now series. And I was wondering if there are any themes across the three series or 4 series now?
This is the second year. This is the end of the second year. 11 programs to date. 11
programs. Wow. Okay. So across the 11 programs, is there a common theme that's surfacing for you all?
It is. And I think it's useful to mention that you're talking about programs that have looked at communities such as the African American community, Hispanic community, Asian American community, LGBTQI plus community, Jewish community, communities from North Africa. Listening to all those stories, there are themes such as coming to America because of religious or political persecution, coming because of this is the land of opportunity, and they see that. People coming here for educational reasons, some coming to stay with their education, some to take their education back, as our Saudi Arabian colleague described. That's oftentimes the information and knowledge taken back to Saudi Arabia to build that community. And then I think it's family. Family is oftentimes a big magnet that pulls people across 3,000, 5,000 miles, either family that are already here or once again wanting to bring their families here because of the potential for opportunity and jobs.
I think I would say all of that. I would also say community and neighbors. This series was at its essence a storytelling project. And it was how everyone coming together, breaking bread, and sharing the history of these groups in Nashville, but then also sharing what's happening in our lives now. And so there was just a lot of community around that. So it had a very neighborly feeling, and it was just a way to sit down with these Nashvillians and new Nashvillians to sit down and just learn more about our neighbors and the idea that understanding someone else's life, what they've been through, can really connect us and bring us all together. And so that's why at the library we really wanted to do that, because of the types of programs that we do and the conversations we try to have is when you can build those bridges and you can learn more about your neighbor and your community, you do have a better understanding. And so it all leads to this kind of this civic responsibility to learn to learn and invest in that type of learning and learning about each other. So not just about books, but about learning about each other.
So 2 things spinning off her spectacular comments. First, if we wanted to do the history, this was not an academic history lesson. This was not about us bringing in Vanderbilt professors. In some cases that was the case, but the focus was community leaders, community members, tell us about your history. What did you see about your history? What did you sense? What were the challenges you faced? The challenges, successes, problems you face in coming to Nashville, integrating in Nashville, being successful in Nashville. And the key is, as Rebecca points, is storytelling. If we wanted to get into details, we could ask historians. But people learn more from stories, individual stories, because with individual stories, you find commonality.
Yes.
There is something about that person's story, though they're from a different part of the world or different religion or different ideology. There's something about that story that resonates with me. Even though I've been here in Nashville and lived in East Nashville my entire life, or West Nashville, or South Nashville, or Rutherford County. And that was really kind of the essence of what I thought this should be about, that I think people would resonate in general. And that's what keeps bringing people back, I think, because it is a building of community from the sharing of the stories. And so you see community building.
Yeah, people would come multiple times. By the time we were at the 11th one, we had our
cadre of folks who were coming.
Right. And is this normal for the library to have this level of 11 programs in one series, or is this also something that's new for the Nashville Public Library? I know you do a lot of events.
We do a lot of events. So that's a good question. We haven't done a series like this with this many since we opened back up post-pandemic.
Okay.
That's for sure. So it has been a lot. It has been a lot, and each one builds, and the same people just. Our patrons and our audiences just keep coming back for everyone, and you can really see the community growing.
Key thing, we're a melting pot. In a melting pot, the brew is multi-ethnic, and it's tasty, and it's thoughtful, and it's friendly, and it has music. And I think that's what America is about. And Nashville, as it's grown into this multicultural metropolis, is a huge reflection of that. And so people become friends. And there's a much more communal sense of that.
Absolutely. And have you seen that from the library in general? Like, so with the Votes for Women's room and the Civil Rights room, those are two rooms that you oversee, right? Those are two of my favorite exhibits in Nashville, so I keep bringing that up when we speak. So have you seen the clientele or the people, the patrons who are coming, there's the people who are coming through your revolving doors. Have you seen that change?
We have always had our loyal patrons. The library just itself, with everything we offer, so not just the special collections and those two exhibits, but our puppet shows.
Yes, they're awesome.
Right?
Yes.
Our podcasts, all of our book series, our book clubs. The library has always been very intentional about building in these reliable programs. Reliable and quality programs that people come back to over and over and over again. That's centered around storytelling and knowledge. This idea that we are always thirsting for knowledge. We always want to know more. We always want that. And so we've always been kind of that sometimes we'll say that we're like the civic living room for the city, so that you can always come and depend on our programs, and we're free.
The other beautiful part
that
about
commitment to that this type of knowledge and these types of programs should be free, or can be free.
And sitting around telling the stories, it is very communal. It's like you go back to primal living, that people sat around and told stories around the campfires, and that's kind of what this is all about. And if you seek more information in detail, you're in the right place. But I think if you wanted the cliff notes or just a sense of what that community is about, you're going to get it from our program. And then if you want to delve deeper, you're right in the middle of a very advanced library, digital library, that will allow you the opportunity to delve as deep as you want.
It's absolutely incredible. Well, thank you both for your leadership in stewarding this program. And we'll be right back after the break with a little homework assignment. Welcome back to the Millions of Conversations show. I'm your host, Samar. I hope you enjoyed listening to our conversation here about the Then and Now series at the library. We're actually going to be doing another episode on this, where we go a little bit deeper into those 11 programs, so that you can learn with me about all of the different information that has come to the surface in exciting ways across those 11 different programs. From this past 20 minutes that we've been in conversation together, the following 4 things really surfaced for me as a homework assignment. The first one is to think about the library as a civic living room. I really liked that. Think about that when you're making plans for the weekend with your family and wondering about maybe going to see a puppet show. And because I've done that with my family, and I can tell you that you really do feel as if you're experiencing community in a new way when you go and do that. I also, one of the things that I did right when my son was born was get a library card. It's a really exciting thing to do, and it's a special thing to do too. And so I'd recommend doing that. The second thing I'd recommend doing is to practice storytelling. See the joy that comes when you engage in storytelling and see yourself doing it. Practice it with a stranger, practice it with your neighbor, practice it in your own living room at home. You'll see, I think, that a lot of joy comes from that. The third thing is to make it a point to learn about who's living here now in Nashville as you reflect on who has lived here in the past, maybe the people who are no longer with us, but that you've captured in some of their last words before they passed that you were just telling me during the break. And last, but certainly not least, take a look at the YouTube links of the Then and Now series. Those YouTube links have all the 11 programs that we're just talking about that have been digitized and placed on the library archive. What is the?
Yeah, if you Google Then and Now, Vanderbilt, Nashville Public Library, you'll get it.
Great. And then lastly, I just say, one of the things that's really inspired me is to see the special relationship that the Nashville Public Library is having with institutions from around the community, including Millions of Conversations and also institutions like Vanderbilt. This coming together and these partnerships in and of themselves is an example of community. And I think that if we can lean into that more, we're going to find a very exciting way forward together. So thank you very much for joining me on this Millions of Conversations show, and we'll see you next time.